Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Sunday, March 18th, 2018. Today I'm going to go over yesterday's round of 32 games and pick the round of 32 games for today. Recap last night's NBA slate, as well as pick games, or not pick games necessarily, but go over tonight's slate of games as well. And go over a monster NFL trade that took place yesterday. First to the college hoops results. Villanova crushed Alabama in the second half in the second round, East Region, 81-58. As the Wildcats advanced to the Sweet 16, Mikal Bridges put up 5 3-pointers and 23 points in the win. Colin Sexton put up 17 in defeat. As I mentioned, the Wildcats advanced to the Sweet 16. 2-seeded Duke crushed 7-seeded Rhode Island in the Midwest regions, 87-62. I had Duke on the podcast. I also had Kentucky. I also had Villanova. I did not have Kentucky. Spoiler alert right there. Marvin Bagley put up 22 in the win. E.C. Matthews put up 23 in defeat. And the Blue Devils are off to the Sweet 16. Kentucky defeated Buffalo 95-75. In the South region, I had Buffalo on the podcast. I was wrong. I bought into Buffalo. Although they hung around with them 3/4 of the way, and the Wildcats pulled away late, the score looks deceiving. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was the best player on the court, 27 points in the win. Wes Clark put up 26 in defeat, and the Wildcats advanced to the Sweet 16. 11-seeded Loyola Chicago upset 3-seeded Tennessee 63-62 in the South region. Great game. Another game-winning jumper, this time by Clayton Custer, that put the Ramblers into the Sweet 16. Andre Jackson put up 16 in the win, and Admiral Schoenfield put up 14 in defeat. The fun story with this Ramblers team is Sister Jean. A big fan of the basketball team. And she keeps bringing them luck. We'll see how the Ramblers fare in the Sweet 16. And I had Tennessee on the podcast. I was incorrect. 1-seeded Kansas defeated 8-seeded Seton Hall 83-79 in the Midwest region. I had Kansas on the podcast. Malik Newman put up 28 in the win, and Kadeem Carrington put up 28 defeat. Great couple-year run for the Seton Hall Pirates. There's going to be changes coming to that program next season, but they have to be proud. Kevin Willard has to be proud of what his program has done these last 3 seasons as the Jayhawks advance to the Sweet 16. 4-seeded Gonzaga defeated 5-seeded Ohio State 90-84 in the West region. This was a great game. I had Ohio State on the podcast. I was wrong. Zach Norwell Jr. put up 28 in the win, and Kayeda Bates-Diop put up 28 in defeat. Great season for the Buckeyes. Chris Holtman proved to be the right hire. He's definitely going to be considered for the National Coach of the Year award, especially now that Tony Bennett's team lost in the first round. Maybe that eliminates Bennett for winning that award for being on the wrong side of history. Who knows? We'll talk about awards another time once they come out, as the Bulldogs advance to the Sweet 16 for the 3rd straight season. 3-seeded Texas Tech defeated 6-seeded Florida 69-66. In the East region, this was a great game as well. Keenan Evans put up 22 in the win, and Jalen Hudson put up 23 in defeat as the Red Raiders advanced to the Sweet 16. Michigan defeated Houston 64-63 on a buzzer beater by Jordan Poole. This was an amazing game. Moritz Wagner put up 12 in the win. Rob Gray put up 23 in defeat. Houston should have won this game. They missed 2 free throws that would have put them up by 4. Instead, they missed both of them, and Michigan runs down the court and Poole hits the long three-pointer at the buzzer to send the Wolverines to the Sweet 16. And I had Michigan on the podcast as well as Texas Tech. So 5-3 with the picks. Picks for today's game. First you have East Region, 10-seeded Butler against 2-seeded Purdue. The Bulldogs are coming off that round of 64 win over the Arkansas Razorbacks. The Boilermakers are coming off a round of 64 thrashing over the Cal State Fullerton Titans. It would be very Butler of them to come out and win this game. Although I don't feel great about taking the Boilers now because Isaac Haas isn't going to play with the elbow fracture. Although he warmed up with the team. I think the Boilermakers led by Vincent Edwards and Carson Edwards lead the way to the Sweet 16 for the Boilermakers, although I won't be surprised at all if the Bulldogs were to win this game. So the pick is Purdue. Syracuse against Michigan State. Syracuse 11 seed, Michigan State 3 seed in the Midwest region. The Orange are coming off the round of 64 win over the TCU Horned Frogs. The Spartans are coming off the round of 64 win over the Bucknell Bison. I won't be shocked if the Orange give the Spartans a game here, but Sparty is the better team led by Miles Bridges and Jaron Jackson Jr., so the pick there is the Michigan State Spartans. 7-seeded Texas A&M against 2-seeded North Carolina Tar Heels in the West region. The Aggies are coming off the round of 64 win over the Providence Friars. The Tar Heels are coming off a round of 64 win over the Lipscomb Bisons. The Aggies have the talent and the capability of beating Carolina. And Robert Williams is a solid prospect. Tyler Davis is a good player for the Aggies as well. But the Tar Heels just have more talent led by Joel Berry, Cameron Johnson, and Luke May. As the Tar Heels will advance to the Sweet 16. So the pick there is North Carolina. 7-seeded Nevada against 2-seeded Cincinnati. In the South region, the Wolfpack are coming off the great overtime round of 64 win over the Texas Longhorns. The Bearcats are coming off a round of 64 win over the Georgia State Panthers. The Bearcats' defense is outstanding. It'll be too much for the Wolfpack to overcome, as Jacob Evans and Gary Clark will lead the way for the Bearcats to go to the Sweet 16. So the pick is Cincinnati. 5-seeded Clemson Tigers against 4-seeded Auburn Tigers in the Midwest region. The Clemson Tigers are coming off the nice round of 64 win over the popular upset pick New Mexico State Aggies. The Auburn Tigers are coming off a narrow round of 64 win over the Charleston Cougars. Both of these teams have suffered significant injuries to key players. Clemson with Dante Grantham and Auburn with Fernie McLemore. But the Tigers of Auburn are the team with the better depth, and they'll advance to the Sweet 16. So the pick there is Auburn. 16-seeded UMBC against 9-seeded Kansas State in the South region. I can't wait for this game. I'm fascinated to see how UMBC comes out after that great history-making win. And as I've said, history-making, the River-Tears are coming off history by becoming the first team ever to defeat a 1-seed in the NCAA Tourney in defeating the Virginia Cavaliers. The Wildcats are coming off a round of 64 win over the Creighton Blue Jays. I see a letdown for the River-Tears here as Dean Wade and the Wildcats advance to the Sweet 16, so the pick there is Kansas State. 9-seeded Florida State Seminoles against 1-seeded Xavier Musketeers in the West region. This was a round of 32 game last year, ironically enough. The Seminoles are coming off a nice round of 64 win over the Missouri Tigers. The Musketeers are coming off a round of 64 thrashing over the Texas Southern Tigers. Leonard Hamilton should and will have his team prepared and ready, but Chris Mack's team is just the way better team led by Trevon Blewett. So the pick there is Xavier. Last but not least for tonight, 13th-seeded Marshall against 5-seeded West Virginia. The Battle of West Virginia. The Thundering Herd are coming off a great round of 64 upset win over the Wichita State Shockers. The Mountaineers are coming off a round of 64 win over the Murray State Racers. The Thundering Herd won't be an easy out, as they shown in the previous round, but the Mountaineers will advance, led by Javon Carter and company. So the pick here is the West Virginia Mountaineers to advance to the Sweet 16. Going to go over the NBA results from last night. A couple significant ones. And I'll also go over today's games. The Bucks defeated the Hawks 122-117. The Wizards defeated the Pacers 109-102. The Knicks defeated the Hornets 124-101. The Rockets defeated the Pelicans 107-101. The Nets defeated the Mavericks 114-106. The Cavaliers defeated the Bulls 114-109. The Grizzlies defeated the Nuggets 101-94. The Spurs defeated the Timberwolves 117-101. The Jazz defeated the Kings 103-97 to win their 9th in a row. The Warriors defeated the Suns 124-109. The Trailblazers won their 12th in a row, 187 over the free-falling and imploding Detroit Pistons. Rockets-Pelicans was probably the biggest game of the night, and the Rockets won. A big play in this game was the foul that shouldn't have been a foul. James Harden shooting the three. Drew Holiday guarding him. Drew Holiday clearly didn't foul James Harden. They call the foul. Post-game, Alvin Gentry goes on this epic rant. And he's bitching about how Anthony Davis never gets calls. Meanwhile, a stat I saw this morning that Anthony Davis is second in the league in fouls per game, forced fouls a game, and James Harden's third. So that's weird that Gentry was complaining. He was probably complaining out of frustration, obviously. He got a technical in the game as well. Look ahead to Sunday's games. And if you want to see the Gentry rant, YouTube it because it's epic. So Sunday's games, you have the Thunder at the Raptors, the Celtics at the Pelicans, the Rockets at the Timberwolves, and the Trailblazers going for 13 straight at the Clippers. No national TV games tonight, but two of them are on NBA TV. The two later games, Rockets, Timberwolves, and Trailblazers, Clippers, those are two great games that greatly can impact the Western Conference playoff race. We'll see how they go. Celtics-Pelicans is fascinating too because I want to see how the Pelicans bounce back from that tough loss against the Rockets. Celtics haven't been playing that great of late. See if they can get a big road win at New Orleans. Thunder Raptors is interesting too from the standpoint of the Thunder been up and down all year and Toronto's just unbeatable at home. And that should be a fun watch as well. Before I go, I have to mention a huge NFL trade between the Jets and the Colts. The Jets received the 3rd pick in the draft. The Colts get the 6th pick, 2 second-round picks, and the 2019 second from the Jets. My takeaways from this trade is that the Jets want a quarterback from this draft, so they had the guts to move up. Great haul for Indianapolis. Chris Ballard did a great job getting what he can get for the number 3 pick because they already have their franchise quarterback in Andrew Luck. And so they get a really, really nice haul. And there's talks that they could trade back again potentially. But we'll see. And as I mentioned, the top 3 picks will likely be quarterbacks. The Browns will probably take a quarterback. The Giants will see. But this makes me think that they're going to take a quarterback with this trade because Mike McCagnon could have made the same offer to Dave Gettleman, and Gettleman probably said no. So that tells me that Gettleman is either A, asking for a ton for that pick, or an offer that he can't refuse to pass up. He passed up what I thought was a really nice offer. So that tells me that he wants to keep the pick and he might take a quarterback. And then now that the Jets have the third pick, that's going to probably be a quarterback as well. And as I mentioned the Giants before, I think they're in a great spot after this trade. Maybe somebody can blow them away and Gettleman doesn't pass up an offer that he can't refuse to pass up. Maybe it will be from the Bills that features their 2 first-round picks from this year and maybe a first from next year. That'd be very interesting if they're the team that's this year's Texans that moves up and gives up next year's first to get the franchise quarterback. And let's face it, it was worth it for the Texans to move up to get Deshaun Watson because he is going to be a franchise quarterback. Even though he got hurt last year, he showed so much potential when he was healthy. And if I'm the Bills, maybe I do something similar to what the Texans and even the Chiefs did last year with Mahomes. Even though the Bills were the team that traded with the Chiefs for that Mahomes pick, ironically enough. So that's it for today. Tomorrow I'll be back recapping the games for today and previewing the Sweet 16 a little bit. And I might come out with a mock draft after this trade. Actually, you know what? I am going to do it because I haven't done one in a while. And plus, I want to see how things play out. And then I'll obviously recap the NBA games from tonight and look ahead to Monday's games. And I believe there's an ESPN doubleheader on tomorrow night. And also, I want to start getting into some baseball stuff because the season is starting in 11 days, I believe. Yes, 11 days until the season starts. So I want to get baseball preview going eventually. So I hope you guys have a nice day, everybody.